Hello, hello, my friends. It's Carrie coming on live to talk about the fall equinox energies for this year, 2022, and also to explore personal growth empowerment practices that we can all do during the fall season to support our growth and our healing. I had such a fun time going live the other day that I thought that I would also do this as a live video and see how it goes. So if you're joining me, chime in, let me know in the comments what you think about the live format, because I'm thinking about doing this a lot more here on this channel. Anyway, so we're coming into a change of season, but the change that we're coming into now is much more than a change of season agriculturally speaking. It's a change of season in regard to our personal growth. In accordance to indigenous wisdom teachings, we're coming into a different sector of the medicine wheel, one that is a lot about being in our feminine flow state. It's about healing. It's about stepping into the wisdom that we've gained through our life experiences throughout this year thus far. And one of the big wisdom teachings that is connected to the fall equinox is about the art of opening. Opening to allow the flow of life to flow through you, opening to allow your emotions to flow, which leads to healing, opening to allow your awareness to flow, right? So this isn't so much a time of conquering, achieving, and doing, as much as it is a time now, as we're coming into fall, of sensing, feeling, being, allowing, opening, and flowing. Now, in the weekly energy update that I uploaded 2 days ago, I talked a lot about the astrological, at least the major astrological aspects that are happening as we're coming in to the fall equinox. And so I'll just say here that on the fall equinox, which occurs on September 22nd, is when the sun is moving into the sign of Libra. And Libra, the Libra energy is all about balance and harmony. A few days after the equinox, we have the new moon also coming into Libra, and that's when we're really going to get the full activation of the fall equinox energies, is when we both have the sun and the moon in Libra. So we have like a little bit of a window of a few days here as we're approaching the fall equinox, and then on the day of the fall equinox as we're coming into the new moon. That is a lot about this opening, allowing, surrendering, releasing. And this can happen in a lot of different ways, right? So this is a really good time to allow more spaciousness for yourself in your life over the next few days. Allow time for self-reflection. Allow time for, especially because on the day of the equinox, as the sun is moving into Libra, it's going to be aligned with or conjunct Mercury retrograde in Libra. So let me talk about this conjunction for a moment, and then I'll weave it back into what I was going to say. So the sun is about our self-identity, our self-expression. When the sun is in Libra, we desire not only to experience deep harmony within ourselves, but we want to contribute that to life. We want to contribute that to our environment. We want to be in a harmonious state of being and delight in expressing that outward and contributing that to life. Now, with Mercury right now being retrograde also in the sign of Libra, conjuncting the sun on this day, it brings our awareness to reconsidering how it is that we can achieve more harmony in our life. Our thoughts go to reconsidering, what do I need to really drop into my flow state, mind, body, spirit, harmony. I talked a little bit about this in the weekly energy update because it's connected to the energies that we're leading into now. And so, time for self reflection, time for sacred feminine practices that are connected to sensing, feeling, being, allowing in whatever ways that you can. On practical levels, it's a really great time to revitalize your, if you have like a meditation altar or a sacred space in your home or a prosperity altar. This next few days is a really good time to freshen up those sacred spaces in your home. One of the best personal growth empowerment practices that we can all do right now is connected to being in your gratitude, being in your joy, right? Because when we're in our joy, we're automatically in our integrated mind, body, spirit, cohesion flow state. When we practice gratitude for the blessings that are in our life, the energy of that keeps us in a harmonious way, a harmonious connection with the universe, and enables us to continue to walk in beauty. And I don't mean physical beauty, I mean walking in an energy of internal harmony, beauty, and sharing that with the world. This is a really good time because over the next few months, as we're in our fall season and we're moving deeper into the best time of year for doing deep emotional healing, shadow work healing around trauma. One of the empowerment practices that we can all practice daily or as it comes up right now is paying attention to or bringing your awareness to what are the roots of my triggers. Now, I do have some videos on my YouTube channel already that guide you through practices for emotional healing. So I'll link those in the comments section below once we're finished with the live here. But having some consideration and reflection around what's being triggered in my life right now, how is it showing me where I have unhealed wounds, and then being on the journey of exploring how you personally can achieve deeper layers of healing as we're moving through the fall season. And again, I'll point to videos here on my channel that can help with that. So let me just take a glance at my notes here that I jotted down. Embracing self-love, obviously, especially as we're in Libra season. Again, Libra being a lot about relationships, but that, as we know, begins with our relationship with ourselves, right? Being in the energy of self-love, honoring our self-worth, honoring our self-appreciation, and doing what we can do to shift more deeply into that deep energy of self-love in and of itself is a deep healing balm. So a big part, this brings to my awareness that a big part of this art of opening that is connected to the fall season is directly connected to releasing resistance. And this is something that I wanted to talk about because oftentimes we habitually keep ourselves in a little bit of a resistant type of energy without realizing it. And this can take the shape of feeling a little bit energetically restricted, pulled in, um, is the best way that I can describe it. A lot of times, people who are empaths, intuitive empaths, have a tendency to keep their energy in a little bit of a restricted, resistant way as an unconscious attempt to keep yourself protected from the uncomfortabilities and intensities that happens with being so energetically sensitive and being overwhelmed by the energies that you perceive or are affected by. But I encourage you all to practice being in non resistance because a lot of times, whether it's the example of you being an empathic person who's being in an energy of resistance, trying to protect yourself from outside energies, whether it's being in resistance to sort of pushing down your own unhealed wounds that are hiding out in your shadow self, whether it's resisting things having to do with mental strain or stresses that are going on in your life that are connected to, maybe decision making and things like that. It's being in that energy of resistance that compounds the restricted energy. So if we can learn to allow life to flow through you, allow your various aspects of your person, your mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, allow those energies to flow through you. Allow your higher awareness to flow through you. Taking time, this is a really good time since we are coming into a fresh energy, in the wheel of the year. It's a really good time to renew your commitment to things having to do with whatever your personal growth empowerment practices are. I like spending time each morning, taking some time to like set the space for the day because I find that doing in the morning does serve to set the space for the day. In the what do I want to say? The practices that I personally have adapted through my own upbringing and experiences in the wheel, the sacred hoop, the medicine wheel teachings that I follow, the season of fall is connected to the direction of west and the element of water. Now, different traditions have different associations elementally with the different directions. My shamanic wisdom teachings are more influenced by European shamanic practices. And so in the European shamanic practices, West relates to water, which, again, going with the flow, tapping into our intuition, being in that sensing, feeling, being, allowing, can also look like as we let go of resistance, we naturally find ways to flow through what previously may have been challenges, blocks, obstacles, things like that. So I invite you to give it a whirl, practice. What does it feel like when I let go of resistance and allow myself to be in flow and trusting the flow of life? And just see what the results of that are. And then you can come back to this video and share in the comments what your experience has been like. And I will say here too that it's a lot easier to trust the flow of life when you personally have a clear, grounded sense of what that means to you. And that's something that, you know, it's sort of like a circular thing, because that's something that comes with practice. When I have the courage to let go of my fears and practice trusting the flow of life, then the flow of life shows me that I'm being divinely guided, supported, and protected and blessed. So it's in your willingness to be the one to trust first, right, that we ultimately gain the experience of knowing that we can trust. So I suggest that we all, you know, find ways to implement that. And then, of course, implementing that, practicing trusting the flow of life, trusting the divine, trusting your higher guidance with smaller things first, rather than like big, huge earth-shattering change type things. Start with smaller things in your daily life, and that will build trust that, you know, lends itself to trusting the flow of life and trusting your instincts and your intuition when it comes to big changes as well. So this whole water thing also represents conscious mind. And as we're moving through Libra season, we may have awarenesses, deeper awarenesses around old unconscious patterns that are ready to shift, unconscious patterns that have been maybe sabotaging us, holding us back, or that we've just outgrown. And then as we're moving into Scorpio season, which comes next, is the best time of year for doing those deeper layers of emotional healing, shadow work. So pay attention to the awarenesses that arise within you, specifically around your reflections that you have regarding where you can optimize your healing, your growth, and your empowerment. One of the other empowerment practices that you can do during this first few days of coming into fall, because it relates to water, is maybe taking a ceremonial bath with Epsom salts, essential oils, with the intention of syncing up to the energies of this new power, this new cycle of power. Allowing the Epsom salts and the essential oils to penetrate the pores of your skin, support a deep ease and soothing, cleansing purification, using whatever aromatherapy oils you feel guided to. Obviously, you know, ones that are connected to deep relaxation and healing are good. And then when you're finished, just allow whatever wants to clear and release from you, literally allow it to just be seeped into the bath water and go down the drain with the water, coming out as this symbolic energy of renewal as we're coming into the fall season. And then on more of a yogic level, as we're moving through fall, you can call upon the waters, the fluids of your body to support you in remembering to practice being in a flow state as we're coming through, moving through this season. Over this next few days, as we're leading up to the fall equinox, and in the first few days of the fall equinox, really up through having the new moon on the 25th, because the moon right now is still in a waning phase, it's a good time to cleanse, purge, clear your literal home environment, your work environment. I mentioned this in the energy update I made a few days ago as well. So creating the space for success, so to speak, in the way of purging, cleansing, clearing anything in your physical home, clutter, whatever, optimizing your sacred space, setting yourself up for a quote successful season of healing, growth, and empowerment. I find that fall is always a highly transformative season for me. Inevitably, as we're getting closer to especially Scorpio season for me, there's always some type of significant shift that puts me on a new path. And so I invite you all to be aware of the possibility of that and take note of how that might happen for you, right? So we're coming into like the darker half of the year now. The days are literally getting shorter. In fact, I'm going to talk about this when I upload the new moon energies in another day or so here, that in accordance to indigenous sacred feminine wisdom teachings, the new moon in September is referred to as setting sun woman. And the energy of this new moon reminds us all how to harness the power of our spiritual will to assure the continuation of abundance in the times to come. So fall also is about a return, a manifested expression of whatever intentions you've set in motion and have been nurturing throughout the spring and summer. So one of the other empowerment practices that we can do is to revisit what those intentions have been and either energize them with the power of your intention and however else you feel guided, or perhaps some of those intentions have already manifested and you can release them. The last thing that I want to mention here is practices that we can do that are more connected to our physical body with this idea of the art of opening and allowing. So on a physical level, this could look like yoga, right? Yoga, stretching, literally creating more spaciousness in our bodies, deep breath work, so yogic pranayama, or even deeper intensive breath work that is done for nourishing the nervous system and healing trauma. Deep breath work creates more spaciousness in the body, more openness in the body. Yoga or yogic practices, even if it's just stretching, creates more spaciousness in the body. So a time of open allowance, spaciousness. Now I want to say here that the reason that I love sharing these empowerment practices is because my mom taught me how to live this way. My mom lived this way when she was alive and always encouraged my sisters and I to live in alignment with the natural cycles and seasons of nature. So I've been living this way since I was a kid. And I really can't imagine any other way of living. And I will say, guys, that when we live in alignment with the natural cycles and seasons of nature, what I have come to call cycles of power, which there's many different spheres of cycles of power, not only do we live most harmoniously with the earth, with the skies, but honestly, our efforts in life produce the best results because we're living in alignment with the natural energies and cycles and seasons, and we're not going against it, right? So for example, and I like to share this just as like a, you know, example that demonstrates the point. As we're in fall and winter, this is not the time to launch a startup, so to speak. It's a good time to develop an outline for starting a new project in your life. It's a good time for investigating, gathering information, seeing what the options are, doing the behind work, so to speak. That's a good use of the energy in the realm of doing this. But launching new things into motion is more like spring, and then we're nurturing them in the summertime, right? But there's cycles within cycles. So as I said earlier, you may find that some of the intentions you set in motion for yourself this spring have manifested already, and you can release that intention. And then perhaps there's a part two of that intention that you can begin putting some positive energy into as like a segue into a new phase or something like that. So anyway, that's what I'm going to share with you for today. I'm going to chime in again in another day or so with the talking about the energies of the new moon coming up. And thank you all for joining me. My love to you. Blessings. Namaste. I'm going to see you as usual around the corner in the next video. All my love, guys. Take care and blessings.